The third album, the Gray album, which is the first one I was on, was um, it was a surprise to me when they recorded it. I didn't know we were going to do an album. We were playing in L.A. and Steve said, you know, with the change of plans, we're going to stay over an extra week and do an album. And so essentially all those songs were already being played, because the album itself, when it was recorded, was done basically as a live album. We all four of us played together for the tracks, and then we went back and overdubbed the vocals and any solos, instrumental stuff like that. It was very different from Loaded. Loaded was exactly the opposite. It was where the tracking in Loaded was done with two people, no, rarely more than two at one time, and then everything was layered on. But the third album, which is my favorite album of all of them, because it's the most like what the group was actually sounding like at that time. It's very close to what the group sounded like on stage, except that it's, you know, got a few extra vocal tracks. I don't know. I can't really speak to how much planning went into the third album, um, because I didn't even know we were going to record an album until, you know, we started doing it. It seemed to just kind of flow, just kind of happen. They were all songs we were playing live, and we didn't, you know, set out to, you know, say, well, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to achieve, we want to do the, you know, approach it this way. It just said, what songs do you want to do? Let's do the, you know, and Lou said, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And so we just, you know, it was very organic. And I think one of the reasons it has that particular sound is that it was just pulled out of the band while it was on touring, you know, and so there wasn't a lot of time to overthink it. It was just play, you know, just do it. Whereas Load was just the opposite. It was way overthought, you know. It was just my favorite thing that came out in all the reissues was the original Loaded tracks, the way they were originally done, because with a lot of the editing, you know, undone, you could hear what was actually going. I mean, that the songs actually were songs. They weren't just these sort of pop anthems. You know. If you go back and listen to the first album and the second album with knowledge of the third album, you'll hear those elements in those two albums too. They're just not as predominant as they are in the third one. The melody is, I mean, Lou has a talent for melody. You know, he sort of instinctively puts them together. These beautiful, simple, catchy melodies. And it's all there. It's just not in the forefront. The loud, crashing things predominate. But I like to think that the loudness and the discordancy, or whatever you want to call it, that sort of typify those first two albums more. Maybe were the conflict between John and Lou, you know, that kind of brought to life in musical terms. But I, you know, that's just fantasy on my part. But I think that the third album was maybe because I was there, and it was I was more supportive of Lou than or more responsive to Lou than John was. I don't know whether that's true or not, but allowed that to happen more, you know. But it's also, to a great extent, I think, what the group was doing then. I mean, that's the way we played Sister Ray live on stage, but it was a little bit sweeter, you know. And White Light, White Heat, same thing, was, you know, which is What Goes On is becoming my favorite song.